Hello friends, my name is Becca from Becca Books and Bujo. Welcome back to my channel, and today I will be sharing with you all of the books I read in the month of March. So, if you didn't watch my March TBR, I'm going to link it up above, and you can see that I read books in March that were picked by my sister. She gave me a bunch of books to read, and I ended up reading all of them. I think she gave me 8 to read, and I read 10 books this month. So I read all of the ones she gave me, plus a couple more, and I'm excited to share with you my thoughts on all of the ones I read. The first book I read in March was The One and Only Bob by Katherine Applegate. This is the sequel to The One and Only Ivan, and this book focuses on Ivan's best friend, who is a dog named Bob. And this one was a lot more thrilling than The One and Only Ivan. I thought it was really, really great, and it kept me intrigued the whole time. This one, Bob is living with his new family, not at the mall that they lived at in The One and Only Ivan. And he visits his friends, Ivan and Ruby, in the zoo almost every day because his owners work at the zoo. And in this one, a tragic hurricane happens, and animals get out, people are missing, animals are missing, and we get to follow along with the story on how Bob saves the day. So it was a really cute story, and I can't wait for Theo to be able to read The One and Only Ivan and The One and Only Bob. I gave 5 out of 5 stars for The One and Only Bob. There seems to be a theme going on with my titles in the month of March, because the next book I read was Bob by Wendy Mass and Rebecca Steed. This one, it was a middle grade, and I did think it was very sweet, but I just did not enjoy it as much. It wasn't as entertaining, and I feel like for a middle grade to be good, it needs to keep the reader intrigued, because a lot of middle schoolers, young children who are reading this book need to be intrigued by it, right? They need to want to keep reading. And I liked the story. I thought it was sweet, but it just didn't keep me wanting to open the pages. This one is about a 10-year-old Livy who is visiting her grandmother in Australia, and she feels like something is wrong with her grandmother's house, and finally she finds this little alien creature named Bob who was locked in her closet for the last 5 years, and she needs to figure out who Bob is, where he came from, and this story is just about how they do that together. It again was a cute story, and I liked Livy and Bob as characters. I just didn't find myself wanting to read it as much as other books have in the past. So Bob, I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I completed in March was The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I listened to this one on audio, and I really liked the reader, and I just really enjoyed this story. So this is about a woman named Nora, and she is not happy with her life and decides to end her life. But in between life and death, there is this place for her called the Midnight Library. There's a librarian who helps her understand what this library is about, which is that every book in the library is a different life that she could have lived based on a decision in her past. So it's about Nora going through all of the different books in the library and trying to decide which one she loves the most. I'm not going to give away the ending, but it was a pretty exciting ending. So if you want to give that one a read, I would definitely recommend it. I gave The Midnight Library 4 out of 5 stars, and maybe more like 4.5 out of 5 stars. But it really made you think about life and the things that you should hold near and dear to your heart in this one life that we have to live. So again, that was The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. The next book I completed in March was Troubles in Paradise by Ellen Hildebrand. This is the 3rd and final book in the series, and I was not disappointed. I think this one was actually my most favorite in the series, the Paradise series. This one, we revisit the Steele family and their lives that they're setting up in the Virgin Islands. This one, you finally get the exciting bits that you missed in the first 2, I think, with the whole FBI scandal that was going on with Irene's husband. And some really sweet things happen too in this one, and so I really liked this one. If you're looking for quick and easy, and especially with summer coming up, some summer reads, I would definitely recommend the Paradise series by Ellen Hildebrand. I gave Troubles in Paradise a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I completed in March was Atomic Love by Jenny Fields. This one is a historical fiction, and it takes place in the 1950s. We follow a woman named Rosalind, and she is living with the backlash of helping develop the atomic bombs that went off in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. She has some love interests that we get to watch unfold, and also some of just the mental things that are going on in her brain after some tragic things happen to the people around her. So I really liked this one. It was a good twist on a love story with some historical fiction in there as well, and I really, really liked this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I completed in March was How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. This one was actually on my February TBR and finished it in the month of March. This one I did talk about in my February wrap-up a little bit, but it ended up being a great call to action for me on how to be an anti-racist. I really appreciated Kendi's writing and the stories he put within the more nonfiction parts of the book. And I really would recommend this to anyone who is wanting to understand how they can fight racism by being an anti-racist. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I completed in March was On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. I had just read The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, so I had a hard time not comparing these two because I really, really enjoyed The Hate You Give and just enjoyed On the Come Up a little bit less. On the Come Up is a story about a girl named Bree who is an up-and-coming rap star. She battles in this rap battle arena and comes out as this awesome, amazing rapper, and so many people love her rhymes. I'm not cool with the lingo. Anyway, so we follow Bree's story on how she wants to be a famous rapper, a famous hip-hop star, and but we also see some inner workings of her mind. So we do hear about what happened in On the Come Up and how that is affecting her life as a young Black woman. And we follow along in her family's struggles as they are trying to get food on the table and pay their bills. She has had a horrible past with her father being killed by a gang member, and so her mother is having to provide for her and her brother on her own. Her mother loses her job, and so they're trying to figure out how to make ends meet in this time. And so she thinks that by becoming a star, she can help provide for her family. So we get some really powerful storylines in this one, but it just wasn't as good as The Hate You Give, in my opinion. But if you liked The Hate You Give and are looking for a fun young adult, definitely try On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read in March was Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, and at first I could not get into this one. I did not want to pick it up and read it. I just wasn't enjoying it. I was having a hard time following and not knowing which character I should kind of root for. But then toward the end, I really, really loved it. It touches on mental health, which has been a struggle for me in the past, and so that part really got to me, really made me enjoy the book so much more. And also the discussion I had with my book club really helped me understand the intricacies of this book and how great of an author Frederick Bachman truly is. This one is about a hostage situation. So a bank robber tries to steal from a bank, but it doesn't have any money at it. It's a cashless bank. So they escape, they run across the street, and they take an apartment viewing hostage. They take all of the people who are viewing the apartment hostage. And it ends up being just this really great conglomeration of lovely people stuck in this apartment together, and they all have stories that they want to share with each other and some shared backgrounds, and so they they bond. They really bond in the situation that they're in, and it's very sweet and loving, and there's some really great characters in it, and so I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I honestly think that I need to read it again to enjoy it even more, because again, like I said, the beginning I was not into it, but now that I know what happens in the end and know more of the characters, I think I would love starting from the beginning again and getting through it. So again, that was Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. If you haven't read any of Frederick Bachman, you need to. He's so great. My favorite is the series Beartown. And for my April month of reading, I am planning on reading A Man Called Uva by Frederick Bachman. So if you haven't seen my April deck of TBR game, I will link that in the cards above. The next book I completed in February was... The next book I completed in March was Flora and Ulysses by Kate DiCamillo. I had read Kate DiCamillo in the past, and so I thought I would like this one, and I did. It was a very sweet story about Flora, a girl who lives with her mom, and Ulysses, who is a squirrel that she witnesses a spectacular miracle happen with Ulysses, and he becomes a super squirrel, a superhero squirrel. Anyway, it's super cute. It is kind of mixed media in that it's normal text, but then also some graphic novel parts fit in there too to make it seem like a comic book, because Flora loves, what is the comic book that she loves? Something about a janitor becoming a superhero. But so that was really fun to read, and it made it go really quick. And the story encompasses Flora and Ulysses, and they are fighting their arch nemesis, which happens to be Flora's mother. So it is super cute, and I would love to read this one to Theo when he gets old enough. Super cute. So I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. And the last book I read in the month of March was What Alice Forgot by Liane Moriarty. I have read Liane Moriarty before, and I like her stories. I like the chick lit genre, so I was here for it. This one is about a woman named Alice who wakes up after falling off of a spin bike at her gym and forgetting the last 10 years of her life. She thinks it's 1998. She's happily married and expecting their first child, but it is actually 2008 when she is planning on getting a divorce with her husband, and going through custody battles for their 3 children. So this one was good, but it was way too long for what it needed to cover. So I don't know if you can see how teeny the print is. So it was too long and had too many details and stories that maybe could have been cut out, in my opinion. I still really liked the concept of it, that she couldn't remember the past 10 years and was like back in her 1998 self. People noticed that she seemed different, just because in her 2008 life she was kind of this strict mom, superwoman mom, and some things had happened in those 10 years of her life that she did not remember, so then didn't affect her current mental situation. But again, it just had too much for what it ultimately accomplished. I still enjoyed it, and I like Liane Moriarty and plan on reading more of her, but because of the length and some of the unnecessary storylines, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. So those are the books I read in March. There was 10 of them. Out of the 10, I only had 2 5-star reads, which is a little bit sad, but most of them were 4-star reads, so they were still enjoyable. Thank you so much for watching this video. I would love to hear in the comments below what you read in the month of March and what was your favorite book. Also, if you've read any of these books, I'd love to chat about them with you. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.